Hi there! Rose here. Non-singing voice reveal, let's go! A moment of silence because I'm Italian, yet I don't have Alessio's accent. Oh, mamma mia. And welcome to my very first edit tutorial. So a whole while ago, Camp Wilderness suggested the idea of a tutorial about how I make my screenshot edits. After this fleeting comment that inevitably inflated my introverted little ego, I made a post to check for interest, and since the majority has spoken and I am a people pleaser by heart, I've decided to give it a go. Now, before I get to it, a little disclaimer. I'm not a professional artist by any means, I didn't get any kind of academic instruction for what I do, and I'm definitely not perfect. I came up with my method by doing the same thing I do in real life to learn anything. Hit it with my head over and over again until I learn. Yeah, you'd think I have a concussion by the time I finish school. All I'm saying is, this works best for me. It might not work best for you, and honestly I'm pretty sure it's quite unnecessarily tedious in some parts. Like, sometimes you think there's a shortcut to get home faster, but you've taken the same loud hot highway your entire life, and since laziness wasn't your legal name solely because it is illegal to call a child that, this is what you're stuck with. That's me. That's what I do. Take it with a grain of salt. With that out of the way, let's get into it. For this tutorial, I'm making the easiest type of edit in my opinion. Swap outfit edit. Just a character wearing the clothes of someone else's. I find them simpler because I tend to make edits based on screenshots of confessional scenes, so it's easy to find references in the same position. Today, I'm using one of the suggestions that are still on my list. Sorry for the wait, I'm almost done. I'll open suggestions again soon, I promise! Specifically, a Narissa outfit swap combo edit. Yay! Yes, I made it a long name to appear cooler. No, I do not feel cringe. My cringe sack had died a long time ago along with my dignity in that magical place called high school. This suggestion is from Lady Grimm 6661. Thanks for the wonderful idea. Since my nose is not that much up in the air to believe I need to provide a tutorial on how to make screenshots, you're DC fans, I know your collections. I'd say we can get started. Anastasia goes first because Marissa would let her, like the gentlewoman she is. Aww. Not the first time Anna gets more screen time. Whoa, who said that? Alright, to start, we need to prepare Anastasia for her new look. I call this the canvas phase. Marissa got a nice white shirt and some baggy green pants. Our aim now is making sure Anastasia is ready to wear her girlfriend's clothes, with all the lovely implication this sentence carries. Essential for the whole thing is to establish the thickness of the lines we're about to use, as they should be as close to Anastasia's lines as possible. I usually stay between 8 and 7, but it depends how big your screenshot is. If you're unsure between two numbers, I'd always go with the lowest. Once we got the line, we're starting from the waist area. This Venture Camp art makes for great edits, because it's so geometrical, it's easy to figure out a lot of hidden body parts. Like for where her belly goes, you just need to follow the lines already there. After that, we need to color over those extra parts so that it looks like they were never there. Don't worry about being precise, once you've done covering everything, you can just put down the black lines again and it will look clean. Now, onto the bracelet. This part is important since Marissa doesn't have anything on her arms. Since we know we won't have to work on this part later, we can finish it right away. Just immediately cover this part with Anastasia's skin color, perfect it, and make it clean. One last thing, we take away the earring only because Marissa doesn't have any. Easy enough to cover. Remember to refine with black if you're not being precise from the get-go. Our model is ready to begin, so let's get to the clothes phase. In this phase, it's even more important that you've chosen the right thickness for the lines, so that the edit will look like it belongs to the character. Marissa's outfit is extremely simple, so let's finish it quickly. First of all, a round neckline that goes down to the chest area. Then, very short sleeves, because those guns had to be covered somehow. And the belly is out. There it's important to remember that Anastasia wears high pants, therefore the waist of her belly is lower, under the pants.
Rose, why are you telling us this? Is it because you didn't know I made this mistake before?
No! Dad! Shut up! I'm embarrassed! The pants begin over here, so let's draw their shape. I'd say don't be afraid to experiment with it, but also make sure you to have a clear idea of where the leg is underneath. The knee needs to be refined, there's this curves to highlight a little bit, and there's a hand over here that you'll have to decide if you want to cover or not. Always check if it looks natural, not if it looks good, because at the very beginning it will not look good. Trust the untrustworthy process. Marissa also got gloves, so let's put them on as well. We've only drawn the base of the clothes with little to nothing about the details. We'll worry about those later. For now, we need some life to the drawing. Of course, to do that, we need color. It is your time to fulfill that childish obsessive need to use the fill option of paint and go crazy. If you put the gloves right, that's all you'll need. Starting with the white shirt. And then the pants. Don't worry if it looks messy for now, we'll deal with it in another phase. For now, have fun and have a look at how the colors look together. Ah, yes! Girlfriend material. Now, what we want to do is simply coloring over those old lines so that the piece comes together. Again, don't worry about going over the black, you'll refine it later. For now, it needs to be all filled properly. I'll make an exception for the gloves though. When the piece is so small, sometimes it is surprisingly more efficient to get really close and carefully fill in the spaces. It's so small that the fill option might be unnecessary and even problematic to work around. In this way, you can immediately make them nice and refined. I do this only with fingers or small details or when I get very specific for no reason. You'd be surprised how particular I get for the most meaningless details. You should see me when I try to put glitter on edits, all those flipping dots that YouTube will blur anyway. But back with the whole picture. We now got the color. It's very plain for now, but before we even think of perfecting the details, the whole thing needs to be clean. The following part will be vital for this, the lining phase. Once again, our good friend Line Thickness 7/8 comes to help us out. Now, this is probably the most tedious and annoying part of the edit because it's about going through the whole thing. Every single line. This outfit's fairly simple, so it won't take too long, but I had others that cover the whole thing with a whole lot of details in between that did make me question my existence. For me personally though, once I get into the zone, I find it very relaxing and satisfying. I put something in the background, a storytime video or a movie. You don't want to know how many times I replay Kung Fu Panda. Then let my thoughts go. If we did our job right during the coloring phase, this will be the perfect finish. Be careful with the curves. Make sure to adjust everything well. The more you practice with this, the more you'll improve until you kinda won't have to think about it anymore. These points specifically need to be done right. It's important to have that sense of continuity between the body parts. Just perfect it using the color of the base and you're good to go. By the time it is done, it will already look pretty well finished. Well, I believe we waited long enough, so let's focus on those details. Everything left behind in favor of the lines, you're doing it now. Getting those pockets down. Finish up the belt. And then there's the chain. You can probably replicate it pretty easily with the right color, but we could also just take it directly from Marissa's clothes. To do that, select the area where the chain is, then select Magic Selection. It will enter you into a mode in which you can adjust how much you want to take from the image. No need to be accurate, as it's a small detail that can be refined later. Once it's done, select Done.
Whoa, really?
After this, you can apply it directly like this, or if you want to keep it for later, press Make it a sticker, and it will be available in the sticker selection.
The stickers are not stayed forever. If you close Paint 3D, the stickers will be lost.
I totally didn't make this mistake repeatedly. I'm just making conversation great whatever we're having right now. This way, it can be manipulated freely. So let's adapt it to Anastasia. Looking good. There are not many details in this edit, honestly. I've removed the head just to have the both of them showing their hair. That being said, there is the chest area to adjust. In past seasons, the chest wasn't always highlighted. People like Ali or Tess kinda just had the flat effect. But given the cartoon style, it's not really a problem. Even so, Season 4 got that little detail down, which it definitely adds more depth, so we're doing the same. We just need to take whatever color is the shirt, then make it a little darker, then we trace the curve to mirror the shape of the other boob. Lastly, we refine the curve so it looks like a shadow with the color of the shirt. Alright, almost done. We got one last phase, the one that makes it all the more realistic. The lights in Season 4 are particularly gorgeous, and doing those clear details right really brings the whole thing together. And it's pretty easy, especially if you have a good perception over where the light comes from and where does it hit. Wish that was me. That being said, having the original screenshot in hand makes it even easier. So the light comes from the right, let's make it real. To do this, I have two preferred methods. The first is using the spray, which is fairly easy and the effect is pretty nice. It's not my main tool only because it tends to be hard to control when I use darker colors, and it might not end up looking smooth at the end. But if I need a big reflection, this is the way to go. The second method, and my favorite, is watercolor. It's nice and subtle, so it's way easier to control. Personally, I tend to go over the same line 3 times to have the effect I want. The only drawback is how it looks a bit fragmented when it's too big, but for characters edits, it's perfect. When you put light on skin, you can take advantage of the pre-existing light and use that color. The thickness entirely depends on how much light you want to put in and how big is the screenshot. Give it a few tries to see how it looks. Remember that if the light color goes over the black lines, you need to cover it with black again. If you have problems with being accurate without going over the black, I suggest for you to just screw it and go crazy all over the black line. Just cover the lines again once you're done. There won't be too many parts to cover in light anyway. Also, the belt is made of metal, so we'll need to make it look shiny. You can just take it from Marissa's screenshot, but it's honestly really easy. Just some oblique lines in a lighter color. All done! Look at her! Alright, let's do the same with Marissa and let's go over all the faces. Firstly, we got the canvas face. Since Anastasia wears shorts, we'll need to make Marissa's legs manifest. Again, remember to highlight the knee, then work over how the legs should be. Honestly, I struggle with legs quite a bit myself. Yeah, not even with hands, no, with legs. Once that's done with, we go to the clothes phase. Anastasia's clothes are a bit more complex, but luckily Marissa is showing her spicy abs, so they're pretty compatible. She fun. Yeah, I'll go to the corner, no need to take out the forks. We're leaving the bracelets and the earrings for the detail phase. Now, coloring phase. This outfit is shocking pink and got a lot of colors, but for now let's focus on the main base. Pink for the pants and whitish for the shirt. The part over the shoulders and the arms looks like it's supposed to be see-through, so we're picking the color of Marissa's skin and making it a little darker to have that effect. Done with colors, it's now the lining phase. During this phase, if you feel like some parts don't seem right, don't be afraid in trying to experiment a bit. Maybe this part seems a bit wide, so just add a bit and adjust. You can always cancel, and Paint 3D has a whole chronology to erase recent life choices. Make sure everything is nice and clean, and then we can get to the details phase. Starting from the earring, it's so small we can just go freely with no lines. Lighter color inside, darker out, here. For the bracelet, we're gonna do the same thing we did for the chain, although since it's on a lighter skin, it will probably need some adjusting to adapt it on Marissa. So again, magic selection, done, and sticker. Just adjust it and make it look like it belongs to Marissa. Anastasia has makeup, but after I tried it on Marissa, I concluded that it doesn't go too well with her skin, so I'll pass on this one. Quick cancel on the chronology, and here we go. Lastly but not least, except literally last, lighting face. Some light over the leg. A bit over the arms. Then on the body. Pretty thin, as from the light on their face, it looks like the sun is going down.
Diana said it is complete.
A little thing I like to do with combo edits is making them interact, so I'll just do one last quick thing. First, I'm mirroring Marissa's image, so the two are technically facing each other. Then, we're having Anastasia look at her beloved. Forgive me for giving you this image of demonic Anastasia. I usually color in white one eyeball and leave the other so I know the shape of the eye. Then I draw it following that shape, and only then I do the other eye. Doing eyes of DC character is very interesting. You'll notice that many of them have different shapes. Jake's eyes are ovals, Aiden got very round eyes, James are thin, and so on. I'd say Anastasia got round ones, but her eyes are slightly thin, so it's not super noticeable. Let's replicate them as best as we can. If they look off, look away from the image, wait a moment, then look again. They might look better on a second glance. If not, just try again and don't worry. The more you do it, the more you improve. And since Anastasia is looking at her beloved, let's add some cutesy things, shall we? Sparkly eyes is the one thing I don't do the same as this Venture Camp. At least not when I do these edits. My sparkly eyes are way less defined.
Because lazy.
I just make a fairly big round pointing where the light is, then a smaller one, around half the other size, then a very small one over here. Then, of course, the blush. In this case, I don't recommend the watercolor, it really does feel like paint. Spray is the way to go, just a few touches on the cheeks. Check if some red went into the eyes, my eyes, and correct it. Red in some blush on Marissa as well, though of course it will not be bright red. Let's make it a darker shade of her skin, and let her flush as well. And there you go, the girlfriends are complete. Yeah! This is the end of my tutorial. This was way longer than I expected. I had way more to say about silly art I post on the internet than I thought. How about that? If you have any questions, don't be afraid to ask. And if you make edits using my method, or even your own, be sure to tag me, I'd love to see your edits. Also, let me know if you'd like to see more tutorials from me, about how I make other kind of edits, like cosplay edits, or the AU edits from Scar Hearts, or my thumbnails. The main method will be similar, although I do have other details to add. Thank you so much for watching this, and for all the subs! Now, if you'll excuse me, I'll go back to my little cave of hyperfixation and wonders, also known as my bed. Sleepy time! Have a lovely day!